Shinholser's interview that he did with this, I don't know, this news station or something like that.
I guess this lady maybe has like a branch off podcast or something called Untold.
Maybe. But it came out a couple weeks ago, and we've just been sitting on it. We're going to play this one today, and then tomorrow we're going to show another one that Dishonest Dean is on from the same lady.
Yeah.
The same lady interviewed him. So we will show that one tomorrow. We figure we'll show this one today.
We can compare and contrast and see how it goes.
We're showing this when John's on vacation. I wonder what country he's in right now.
I bet he's having a great time. I hope he's having a great time. He needs it.
He totally needs it.
Yeah. He looks young in this.
Yeah, he does. I'm going to have to ask him how long ago was that done.
Dude, that's a cool cabinet.
Oh, yeah.
This should be interesting, though. I always love to hear John talk, man.
Me too. I think he commented on my LinkedIn or something like that. It said that he only dropped one cuss word. He said I'd be proud of him.
Oh, with this one?
Yeah.
It'd be funny if they were like, bleep.
I know.
Oh, man. All right, let's see. Let's see what John...
Canberra. Hey, Canberra Garrison.
Hey. Welcome.
Yeah, welcome. We're going to show
This is
John
like so
Shinholser.
improv. This is like, we're on complete chill mode right now is what it is.
Yeah, because, our so far right now this week, our hearings that we've had to attend have slowed down. To me, it's the calm before the storm.
I feel it. Yeah, I think you're right. Oh, well, at least we get to enjoy it.
Yes. Take a breather.
Catch up on, would you say this is from the 13th?
Yeah, July 13th.
Yeah. So at least we can catch up on a couple things. All right, let's hear what Mr. Shinholser.
In Richmond, no one knows more about recovery than John Shinholser. For years, he's been helping people battle their demons and overcome addiction. Now, the co-founder of the McShin Foundation has shifted his focus to a plant that many have not heard of, but one that is now at the center of passionate discourse, both in Richmond and in Washington. Today on Untold, Shinholser tells us why he's chosen the pro side of the kratom debate. Welcome to Untold. John, thanks for being with me today.
My pleasure. Glad to be here.
Excited to talk to you about all kinds of things. You are an advocate for people who are struggling with addiction. You are on the front lines of a controversial sort of debate going on over the use of something called kratom, which we're going to get into. But first, tell us sort of about how you came to be in the current role that you're in now, and sort of what your experiences with addiction have sort of taught you.
Great question. I guess my expertise comes from my recovery from addiction. I'm personally a recovering addict, alcoholic. Been clean and sober 43 years. It'll be 44 years next month.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you. I got sober in the Marine Corps, of all places. But in 2000, I started advocating at the General Assembly for funding for services. So that kind of got me paying attention to what's going on, who's helping addicts and alcoholics, who's not, what needs to take place. So in 2004, me and my wife founded the McShin Foundation, a recovery center here in Richmond, and it grew. And next thing you know, we have a bunch of recovery houses, a recovery center, and we're dealing with 1,000, 2,000 addicts a year.
Wow.
And around 2000, and also, as you know, I've been engaged in policies at the General Assembly as well, so I kind of know how policies work, how laws are made. But around 2010, maybe, we were one of the first organizations to do what they call confirmation drug testing, which means we send our urine samples off to laboratories, and they tell us whatever's in the urine samples. Right. And, something called kratom pops up. And I didn't know what the heck it was. Nobody knew what kratom was. And the kids that were on it, we didn't know they were on anything. They were showing or displaying no symptoms at all of being on any type of substance. They were some of our best recovering participants in our organization. And I would ask them, I said, what is this stuff? Why are you taking it? And they would say stuff like, well, we take it for PTSD, we take it for anxiety, we take it because it keeps us from wanting to do opiates. So an array of really good reasons and causes to take it. But when I looked it up on the DEA and the FDA website, they were all saying bad things about it. It's terrible, it's a drug of concern, stay away from it. And then they were selling it in the vape stores next to the bath salts. So I'm thinking, now this can't be good. You're buying it in a base, next to bath salts. And but one of the kids introduced me to one of the people who imports it, produces it, and distributes it.
Yeah.
So I went over to talk to him one day. I'm going over to talk to him, think like I'm gonna bust some heads, right? Like, what the hell is this crap? Why you got this in our stores? But I began a process of getting educated. He said, look, John, just calm down. It's a plant, it's a leaf, it's all natural, no chemicals in it. And this is a good place for me to say that when I talk about kratom, I'm talking about the real leaf,
the organic,
kratom.
right?
Yes,
from a tree in Southeast Asia.
Yes, I'm not talking about 90% of what you're seeing in these vape stores. They call it kratom,
I see,
and it's not kratom, and that burns I get heartburn every time I see a kratom story. And what they're talking about is synthetic products, 7-OH products.
Yeah.
They don't have a clue what real kratom is.
I see.
So that does irritate me, because my formal education with this is in the leaf product, the organic natural kratom, as you call it.
Which has a long history. I mean, in Southeast Asia, they were
it goes back in the late 80s.
Discovering it in teas and using it for medicinal.
Well, it's first you first can read about it in medical journals from the 1800s.
Yeah.
I meant the 1880s, not the late 80s here, but 1800s they discovered they could use it for opiate withdrawal.
Right.
During the opium wars.
Yeah.
But for other things, energy, focus, pain, but the natural form is just a tea. They put the leaves in hot water, or they chew the leaf, like they chew cocoa leaves in South America, and they never had issues with it. It's not like you see with the chemical products today. Right. And it's been around for hundreds of years. And it came to America, they say, when the returning Vietnam veterans brought it back with them, so they could detox from opiates, I guess. But what made it really popular in the United States was two things. Was when they shut down all the pill mills in America, a lot of these pain patients were legit. I think there's like 30 to 40% of, if you were in a pain clinic when they shut them down, between 30 and 40% were legitimate pain patients.
Sure.
They were there for appropriate
reasons. They had some kind of injury. They had some kind of chronic illness.
And they went without anything. So they go to the internet, they find kratom. The returning veterans from Iraq and Afghanistan, the Veterans Administration, they just could not service the mass amounts of these people. These VA doctors were telling the vets, look, just Google kratom. I can't officially tell you to try it, but it might be right for you. So tens of thousands of veterans turned to it. So you got pain patients, underserved chronic pain population, veterans turning to it, and addicts were finding out that it was a great, not only detox medication, it was good for withdrawing from opiates, but a great replacement product for benzodiazepines, Adderall, and a lot of these
antidepressants, all of those.
Everything. It could be good for anything. But what it wasn't, never was it like an exit product, an entrance ramp to addiction. It was always an exit ramp product. Always. It was always somebody trying to get off of something else to help them with, or find something to help them that nothing else would help them. It is not a first get high drug of choice, as I like to call it. Most kids, it's going to be alcohol, weed, acid, heroin, whatever. Kratom rarely was it anybody's first drug of choice. But you fast forward to today with the 7-OH products and the synthetic products, yes, that's a drug of choice now. But that natural kratom leaf product, that was just never on the radar. That just wasn't a thing back then.
Right.
But what really got me going good was in 2015, we had a friend of mine he was a big kratom consumer, swearing by it. He said, John, everybody I know that's getting off opiates, they're using kratom because you couldn't afford Suboxone, because Medicaid hadn't expanded yet. And back then, Suboxone was like $300 a month plus $300 for a doctor visit. And kratom's only $5. So what do you do? So I was actually I don't know what they called me, the advisor to a survey. We couldn't call it a pilot project because no medical doctor wanted to help us. But I found a scientist that actually collected the data, created the protocol and the program. I got another guy that funded the money, and we went to Richmond and we got like 30 addicts over a 6-month period that were homeless, on heroin. And we said, look, we'll give you a weekend sober living and access to kratom. We want to see if kratom gets you off of heroin. 29 out of 30 people over a 6-month period successfully detox using kratom. One guy didn't do it. He had a pocket full of money and a strip of girlfriend, so he runs off. But I'm sitting here thinking, this is a hit. This is proof to me. Well, shortly thereafter, they expanded Medicaid in Virginia. And now we have a Suboxone clinic on every corner. And even back in 2014 and 15, even the addiction doctors back then were telling addicts. They said, look, you can't afford me, maybe Google kratom, see if that helps. I hear that helps, okay? But today, fast forward, they own the detox industry nationwide, these Suboxone doctors, so obviously they're not liking it.
Right.
And then you see in the news where Suboxone doctors and these treatment centers are saying, this one local guy saying 75% of his patients is kratom. That's total BS. If anything, it's 7-OH. It ain't kratom. It's a synthetic product. And if you research, what's the criteria for accepting somebody into treatment? Just like if you answer 2 or like 10 questions, you qualify, and nobody checks to see if you're telling the truth or a lie. So it's really easy to get people in a rehab or an outpatient program, and insurance pays for it. So, I think some of these people are committing fraud. These IOPs and PHPs and treatment centers. Richmond has a lot of capacity.
I agree.
Virginia has a lot of capacity. We're overbuilt with these treatment centers and programs. There's not enough customers to go around. So I think they're reaching, when they do.
Well, that's
this.
certainly how the pill mills came to be. I mean, it started out as being a legitimate,
pill mill is different.
But then they started handing it out without really investigating the need, and I mean, it sort of became. In
correlation to the rehab, yes, you're correct.
Yeah,
but the pill mills. Remember, you had a pharmaceutical company that bribed the FDA. They paid off the FDA to have all these doctors believing this was safe, and it became such a cash cow and a money maker. These doctors knew better, and they were doing it anyways.
Yeah.
Well, what correlates that in today's 2026, I think, is the vape stores themselves. We have these vape stores, these tobacco shops, coast to coast, which full of nothing but get high products, chemical get high products. And for whatever reason, everybody accepts this stuff. And somewhere in the shelf, in the mix, is that natural organic kratom product that's getting caught up in that rhetoric.
And getting a controversial reputation.
Bad rap.
Yeah.
100% bad rap.
Yeah.
Because the truth is, 90% of what people are buying ain't even kratom. They call it kratom, and they call it that because it flies under the skirt of the true kratom DSHEA Act 8-factor analysis testing.
Yeah.
The only reason kratom can be sold is because it passes the FDA 8-factor analysis test.
So I've got some questions specifically about the addictive nature of it. I think it's, there's not a ton of research out there. There's not a ton
Only
of...
1,200 scientific studies, over 300 peer-reviewed, and more coming out every day. So
I mean, I
there's
think...
a lot.
But it's funny because you said when you did your study, there wasn't a doctor that would sign on to it. Like,
we had a scientist, but you're right. But
because there has a stigma...
Since then.
Right, it's got a stigma attached to it that I think some people are kind of leery about engaging. But either way, I think it's fairly... Is it common knowledge that it is pretty addictive, kratom?
I think people know. There's no way in the world you cannot know that whether it be kratom or the synthetic kratom is definitely addicted if you choose to misuse it and abuse it. You got to know that. Because everybody lives on the internet, they live on Reddit, they live on social media, and that's all you see out there. When somebody says, I didn't know I could get addicted to this, to me, that's BS. But what is true, they may not have the experience what it's like to withdraw from a drug.
Yeah.
These little teenagers.
And there will be a withdrawal from kratom if you stop it.
If you are truly addicted to whether it be natural kratom or the synthetic, yes, there will be a withdrawal.
I don't have any withdrawals.
For
just
sure.
saying.
Would you consider it an addictive product, kratom?
Well,
no.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, just putting that out there. I want to get that clear.
I'm not an idiot.
Well, I wasn't suggesting you were, and I certainly wouldn't have you on my podcast if I thought you were an idiot.
Right.
But being that it is addictive and being that it does come with withdrawal symptoms should you choose to discontinue use of it. And I will say it also is known that it has a very, very low overdose rate and very few fatalities associated with it. And I will say that the withdrawal symptoms, while they are opioid-like, they tend to be not as severe as detoxing off of an opioid.
Well, John
right?
Hopkins, you familiar with John Hopkins' surveys? I got it right here. Actually, it's the first one I pulled out for you.
Okay.
They did a comprehensive study, 3,000 people, and what they discovered was that I'm talking natural, organic, kratom leaf, nothing that's been extracted or
enhanced
synthetic.
or yeah.
What they discovered was a couple of the biggest takeaways was, and these are all addicts, and 35% of the people that take leaf products to get off of opiates were off opiates after a year consuming kratom, replacement therapy.
Yeah.
And I think those numbers are better than Suboxone and methadone, if my knowledge is correct.
Mm-hmm.
They say there is 87% of the consumers got no issue, no problem with it. There is no withdrawal, no addiction, no dependence. 10% of the people do have a dependence. Now, you look at dependence isn't all bad. Dependence doesn't equal addiction or mean addiction. They're two different set of circumstances. I'm dependent on blood pressure medication.
Jen, do you want to pause to read that for Nick?
If you're taking Suboxone, you're...
Hey, Nick. Actually, when I saw that, I was like, oh, I was actually on X retweeting Monty Fritz thing, talking about I voted, keep kratom legal or whatever. Depending on like where you're at, like your House or Senate, I would look at, I don't know if you have access, if you know where to go to the General Assembly website or even to Legiscan and see who voted in favor of the ban or who sponsored the bill. But I think most of the Democratic nominees voted against the ban bill. I don't know. What I did is I voted against the people that I had put in the office last time that voted for it.
He's in West Tennessee.
West Tennessee. That's where I'm at. Yeah, I would just, you know what? I can even put it in the chat. I can put the, a link to show you who voted on the bill. And so when you go, what I did is like, I just took my phone up there and I looked, yeah. That's what but as far as like governor, I know Monty Fritz, he is the only person that's been vocal about the whole Matthew Davenport bill and how he was not, in favor of it. He did not vote. He just did the whole, absent.
Yeah.
Dare not vote or whatever. So that's who I voted for. And I ain't telling anybody who to vote. I'm just saying, me specifically, that's what I know, But yeah, I would just Google it while you're standing there. And if you don't know right offhand. And
Did you put it in ChatGPT? Or did you just straight up Google?
Oh, you mean like who?
Yeah, if this person voted for or
No,
against kratom.
I literally brought up the, Legiscan.
Uh-huh.
or like the General Assembly website, and I looked up the bill, and like you can see who voted for it. You know,
I like how we just slid on in on
I
screen.
know.
That was cool.
But yeah, I went to, House Bill 1649 or whatever, and then, at the final vote, and you can see,
Yeah, anybody in Tennessee today. Today's the last day to get your vote in, right?
yep, today
Yeah.
is election day.
Yeah.
And I will say this, Marsha Blackburn, not only has she signed, I guess,
That letter.
yeah, a letter to the FDA wanting them to ban everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was
Yep.
like with 8 other senators.
I think it was 11. There was 11 senators, so she was part of the 11.
Go get that vote. You know what I said on the way to I was like, because I tried to contact both my House and Senate members, and neither one of them took my phone calls or answered my emails. And I even saw them there in the hearings, and I'm like looking at them.
Yeah.
But it's like, this is for not taking my phone calls or my emails or not giving her shit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to the voting box.
Yep. Anybody who's in Tennessee, today is the day for you to go vote. Go vote those mofos out.
Yeah.
Get them out.
Last thing we need is Marsha. That lady is cuckoo.
Man, there's Reddit threads on that lady.
Yeah, she is. Like, it's always crazy, like, when you see somebody like that get so high up in power or whatever, and you're like, it's obvious how they got there, money. Because it's like, dude, they sure didn't get there, like, from making good decisions.
Right.
I'm just being completely honest.
Right.
Like, wow. But, yeah, go get that vote in, Nick.
Mm-hmm.
I got mine in today. Just got back from it.
Use that voice. Use that vote as your voice. Get them out. Lock them up.
Lock them up.
Canberra says, for me, kratom is similar to caffeine. I can go without it. Few days feel sluggish, have headaches, kind of blah, but can easily stop and take breaks. It's manageable, nothing compared to the opiate withdrawal. That's what I'm saying. Same for me. I don't take any for 1 to 4 days every week. I started doing that in 2023, where I started taking daily breaks. After I was taking it for 4 years straight every single day, I challenged myself. I wanted to see, if I don't take this, am I going to have the withdrawals that I kept reading people saying that they're having? Nope. Did not. I sure as heck did not. And I usually don't take any Saturday, Sunday, Monday for sure. I don't, and then sometimes during the week, I'll just be like, you know what? I don't feel like taking any today, so I won't take any, and it's for them to say, like, in Virginia, where a dishonest dean went up there and advocated for them to put opioid-like withdrawals on the kratom packaging, really got under my skin.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to say that they have opioid-like withdrawals if they're abusing it and they abruptly stop, but I don't know. That really irked me. But yeah, nothing like opiate withdrawals. And I know opiate withdrawals. For 11 years, my opiates did not last me the whole 30 days. I would go to my doctors, go get my script. I'd be popping them mofos for like 10 days and they'd be gone. So every single month I went through opiate withdrawals.
Yeah, I think you're right too. Most people have never had withdrawals from actual opiates before that say that.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I don't know. That's a rough way to go.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, and dude, not having something that you are dependent on sucks. Nobody wants to be uncomfortable. Hell, if we could feel good all the time,
yeah,
why wouldn't we? But, I think some people just genuinely don't want to feel bad, even if it's just a little bit, so they kind of elaborate on it.
Yeah, Cody, for me, it's exactly like caffeine. Yep. So, I don't know. I don't know about all that stuff, all this stuff that people be saying, like I said, I wanted to see for myself. And I did that, and I was like, I always, I remember putting up the, which way did they go, George? Which way did they go? Because I still don't have the withdrawals that I read people saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rebecca. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's...
Now, 7-OH withdrawals are, I personally have never tried it. I would not touch 7-OH with 10 football, but reading people's withdrawals from that reminded me of my opiate withdrawals. And I am like, what?
It blows my mind that, and I mean, when we say that we've heard something, I don't say that out of like, I've only heard it once or twice.
Right.
I'm saying consistently across the board.
It's a collective pattern. Collective pattern.
Like people having to wake up in the middle of the night because they can't sleep because they're withdrawn after, just trying to sleep.
Yeah.
Like, that's insane. That's insane to me. It's just insane.
Same.
Yeah.
Same.
I wish it was a requirement.
I know. They'd be up there all happy-go-lucky finishing off the rest of the session.
Dude, and half of them are aged pretty well. Their arthritis will be feeling good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. I think that should be like a requirement. All right, let's see it here.
Dependent on Suboxone. So dependence isn't really a bad thing. They say they have a confirmed 3% addiction profile. This is the population that chooses that product over common sense day-to-day living activities, meaning they probably steal, they spend their money, they don't pay their bills because of the addiction part. Less than 1%, I think it's like 0.5% actually has a severe withdrawal. 0.5% has a severe withdrawal.
But there is a tolerance. And I'm listening to a bunch of stories on this. I do think your doses will increase as your tolerance
if you're consuming that product to get high, which is to get high.
I mean, aren't they all right? Like, I mean, that's what you're seeking. Like, even if you're coming off of an opioid, you're not seeking to get high.
See, I'm going to teach you something. This is a teaching moment.
I think that's kind of like a fact, right? Like, if you are taking it to get off of an opioid, what you are doing is replacing that high with sort of another good feeling. Might not be as good, but you're kind of putting yourself back in that same, whether it's euphoric, whether it's a stimulant, whether it's, you can have different impacts.
So are you saying that people take a Suboxone and methadone, or do you
but you're still seeking to replicate that same feeling. We got two
teaching moments here for you. Teaching moment number one.
Teacher, John.
No.
Teacher.
Most people that consume the natural leaf product, they don't consume it for any type of get high. They consume it for either to alleviate pain. I run with Kratom consumers, been consuming for 15 years. They have these horrible, painful conditions, certifiable illnesses that no other medication helps. And they consistently, for 15 years, they take 10 grams a day, no more, no less. No tolerance, no buildup, no need to get more. And that is probably over half of the Kratom consumers never do more than whatever
You think over half of Kratom consumers are doing it just as a pain
the leaf consumers, yes.
Okay.
And I know people that they use it, they replace it with alcohol. But they don't consume. They might consume 8 grams a day for 5 years. 8 grams is not a get high. You can take...
I'm sorry. I just want to say something real quick. Canberra, if you are on the Advocacy in Action, I think that's where everybody's at.
Or your Facebook.
Yeah. It's like we're on Facebook and YouTube and Kick and X. Yeah. So, but I try and like put all the comments up on the
screen.
There you go. Man, I've been up a long time. My son's first day of school was today, and we had to get up really early, so I'm like just blanking out. But yeah, I try and put all the comments on the screen, so we can kind of all see.
Yeah, we're live streaming on 3 different YouTube channels, Jen's Facebook, and then my X. So yeah, it's all scattered.
Yeah.
We do it for exposure. We want more exposure.
Spread the word, you know.
Yep.
But
Advocacy in action.
That's right. But yeah, I'd usually try and put it up on the screen, and you know, you can always at people or whatever.
I have to go to the bathroom.
Go for it. I think so. I think I would say the majority of people take it for pain. Just in my opinion. I know that there was that one survey done, but I think that was like in 2021, maybe. But I feel like most people genuinely do take it for chronic pain, especially if you're daily consumers. You know, not even that. I know there's a lot of people that are chronic pain people that will take it like every few days whenever they're just hurting real bad. So I don't know. I guess it's just different, different strokes for different folks. I don't know, but I do feel like, the majority is probably chronic pain. Oh, you're welcome. Oh my gosh, I just noticed, is that a black cat? Dude, I have 2 black kitty cats. I'm sorry. I just saw that. Yeah, they're special. Okay, on with the show.
Safely a couple grams 3, 4, 5 times a day and never get a get high out of it. Mm-hmm. You have to take 5 to 10 grams to get that get high property. And then if you're doing it to get high, then yes, you will build a tolerance, and then you will have to take more, and then you will be up to 50 to 100 grams a day. Then you cross the line into that addiction profile. So so 2 things. Not everybody takes it to get high or gets high off of it. And you can take it for a condition and never increase your amount, because your tolerance ain't for the get high factor. Not all kratom gets you high. It's a matter of how much you take. A low dose, you don't get high. A medium dose, you can feel some kind of euphoria, whether it be analgesic or stimulant. Mm-hmm. And then a higher one is typically analgesic. So, and that's 5 grams for a new person would be ceiling. You would throw up if you take more of that. It's got a built-in puke button. The stuff does. The Leaf does.
Yeah, I did. I heard one user describing that as who was an addict, and he was taking it for the high, but he was taking so much so fast that he was throwing it up. He was taking it with water, and then he started taking it with orange juice, thinking that like the acidity would help. And
it's got a natural. Kratom is a sympathy.
But he managed to go up and up and up.
You can.
Yes, and so I guess my question though was specifically about people who are trying to get off of an opioid and taking this as their exit ramp. That they would be seeking it because they clearly were not like but you're saying pain management accounts for 50% of the motivation
of the leaf for sure. I'm sure that now. But another news flash: when buprenorphine first hit the market, we pioneered buprenorphine in 2004 in sober living, and the protocol was in every buprenorphine prescriber. And this is what Suboxone is, buprenorphine, if you didn't know that. Suboxone is just a brand name, but the real ingredient is buprenorphine. Every addiction doctor in Virginia and Richmond area in 2004, the protocol for consuming buprenorphine was a 5-day step down. You took, 8 milligrams one day, then you take 4 and 4 the next day, then you take 4 and 2, and then 2 and 2, and then 2 on your 5th morning. And that was it. That's all you took. That was the protocol, and you could not prescribe, against the law, to prescribe benzodiazepines or other drugs with it. It wasn't until the Suboxone doctors got together and said, when fentanyl became a big thing, I guess around 2016, 17, whenever it started coming out, they rationalized saying, well, if you relapse, they're going to go back to fentanyl, they're going to die, so we're better off just putting them on this stuff indefinitely. That opened the floodgates for lifelong. You go ahead, get on buprenorphine. Go on, take Suboxone for life. Don't worry about it. It'll keep you alive. You're not going to risk taking fentanyl. Okay, that's the reason they expanded the prescriber, formula or whatever you want to call that. Well, why are they giving Suboxone to people getting off of speed and benzos? They prescribe it for anything almost, and it's a life prescriber. But originally, when we did that kratom survey, it was only a 5 days. You only took kratom for 5 days. You didn't take it on day number 6. Otherwise, you could risk becoming dependent. And I think I know hundreds of addicts over the course of the last 10 years, they took kratom for 5 days, 3 days, 4 days, 2 days, 6 days, 7 days. They didn't consume it other than to use it for the detox piece, as do with a lot of folks. And I know, and I've run across dozens of honest people, Adderall addicts. I take all my Adderalls in 3 weeks. I got a whole week before I get my re-up. They take kratom in it. They supplement with that, So, what percentage of people are doing that? Supplementing because they're misusing their prescription, whatever it may be. They'll supplement it with kratom.
I call those the in-betweeners.
So, kratom has a lot of uses and purposes.
Yeah. This is a good spot. We're gonna hit pause and take a break for a second. I have a lot more questions.
Oh, I bet you
for
do.
you, and I'm sure you have a lot more answers to give me. We'll be right back. If you're enjoying Untold, like and subscribe on YouTube. You can also rate and follow us on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. So back on the subject of kratom as sort of like a pain management tool, and you're describing various sort of medical uses. There, we struggle to find studies online, and I'm curious why the FDA hasn't done their own study. Why, when there is a huge community of people that really stand behind this, and I was looking into the history of kratom, and I saw that in 2016 when the FDA briefly thought for a minute they
That's
were going.
FDA study right there.
They were going to. Well, I mean, they say that they don't approve it for any medical use, right?
Okay, so the FDA has done a study. Newsflash: these studies are they
published?
Yes, that's a published study. They only did it a couple years ago. They just released the publication side of it, I think, in the last 6 months. They did what they call a ascending dose study to see if people could take it safely. And they had I think 20 placebo, 20 people, and they took 12 grams in 5 minutes, and the end result is it was well tolerated. 2 people from each group got nauseous. Well, real kratom, if you do 12 grams in 5 minutes, you're supposed to get nauseous. That's what it does to you. And the placebo, 12 grams of anything might make you nauseous. But what
this interview was on July 13th. That was when it was published.
National Institute of Health right now, they're beginning a study of metragedine, which is the active alkaloid in kratom, to see if that's as good or better than Suboxone. But they could never do that study if they didn't prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that it's safe for human consumption. So there's huge breakthrough studies, but they can't brag about them because it goes against the rhetoric that they've been anti-kratom, so they would look kind of foolish. So people...
Yeah, I'm not sure how...
The truth is that if it goes like this, if you really don't know the education, then you're ignorant. But if there's education out there and you don't go get it and understand it, then that makes you arrogant. And that's so much of that taking place right now.
So you think the FDA doesn't want this out there because they have been anti-kratom and they think it'll make them look bad if they all of a sudden endorse it?
Not only that, you got to understand the history of the FDA. FDA, it's like its own government special interest group, and they have monopolized medications. Plant medicine was all that was on Earth for 100,000 years up until 50 years ago. So here the FDA comes along and says, you can't do anything unless we approve it for medicinal purposes. And that's just wrong. We know that, like for cannabis, for example, there's some illnesses and diseases out there, especially the little kids that had those with those seizures and nothing would have helped.
Yeah.
But CBD,
yeah,
boom, bingo. There's illnesses just like that only kratom helps. So the FDA tried to ban kratom. You're familiar with the history, right?
Yeah.
They tried to ban it.
The DEA tried in 2016.
Yeah, but the backroom story was the FDA told them to do it, that it's bad, and we'll prove it. So the DEA announces, okay, we're going to ban kratom. They did a 30-day public announcement, just like they're doing for 7-OH now.
Yeah.
Well, what happened was the legality pushback was this. you can't ban kratom FDA because it can pass the 8-factor analysis test, which by 1994 federal law says you can't ban anything if your own test prove it's safe.
Right.
So kratom proved that. The DEA, the only time in the history of the DEA that they publicly announced a ban and they reversed it.
Yeah.
Okay, you don't think people caught feelings over that?
Well, there was also a huge public outcry. I mean, they faced a ton of, it was massive.
You can outcry all you want, but at the end of the day, when the science proves that it's a safe product, and by law you can't ban it, that is really what won today.
But what I'm questioning is why don't they have the study that shows its effectiveness? Like, so if it's safety, I think as we've established is not, at the heart of this, because like I said, low overdose rates, that's not severe withdrawal, but what's not in the FDA's, ability at this point is to say whether it has the anecdotal values that you're describing as a pain management tool, well, they're going to prove that, okay? But the FDA products, it takes billions of dollars in 10 years. No pharmaceutical is going to invest billions of dollars in 10 years to prove that this kratom plant is a great medicine and we're going to make a pill from it when the plant is still on the street and legal. There's no money. You can't patent plants. You can only patent alkaloids and synthetic products that come from plants. And once you do that, then you better ban the plant. Otherwise, you're going to lose your investment. So can you see the triangle of... Well, of course. I mean, that's what Big Pharma is,
yes,
right?
Yes. And who says Big Pharma should take over God and plants that were created for man and women?
I hear you. I don't disagree with that. But what I'm saying is, like, I think a lot of the pushback would be silenced if there were medical published studies that showed with the benefits, because this is it does have opioid, it does have opioid-like qualities, and it does interact with your opioid receptors, and while kratom is a partial agitator, but some of these other ones are full, and I think that makes people nervous. I think they immediately think this is an opioid and this should be prescribed or be managed or be regulated. Do you think there is room for it to be regulated in some ways, or do you think it should be, as it is now, sort of available at vape shops and wherever?
Well, that's exactly what the American Kratom Association is trying to do. We have it regulated in, I think, 22 states right now. We're trying to get a federal regulation. We are the number one fan of regulation, but when we say regulation, we're not saying Schedule 1.
Yeah.
What we are saying, regulated appropriately. It's allowed to be in the marketplace.
Yeah.
So, by God, age-gate it. Yeah. Make sure it's tested, that it's pure. Make sure what it is. All these products that the most kratom products, not all, most of them actually follow the FDA regulatory packaging guidelines. They use the good manufacturing practices policy that the FDA created. Now, unfortunately, the 708 people use the same guidelines, so it's very confusing, when you got two groups of people saying they're using the same guidelines. So, but we're trying to get strong regulations in every state. We only want, adults to have access to it. That's what we want, and there's nothing wrong with that. We don't want kids getting this, and it breaks my heart to see it sold in vape stores next to chemicals. But where else can you sell it? Where else do you sell it?
Yeah.
But I did bring these studies with me.
Where would it be ideal to sell it? I mean, if not there, where would you put it? At a pharmacy, like over the counter?
Well, so many addicts, so many people. Like if you get a whim on a Friday night, okay, I'm going to quit drugs, I'm going to quit drinking on a Friday night, you want to have access to it. So you go down, you want it to be in a vape store. But at the same time, because of the rules of these stores and the rules the FDA says, you people aren't allowed to tell you but so much about it. But that's why it's got to be on the package for the most part. Adult use, don't exceed 2 grams twice a day, stuff like that. So I personally, I think it should be, and wherever they sell botanical products, it should be there. Vitamin section. it should be mainstream. But in Virginia, it's only 21 and up, so you're going to see it, either behind the counter.
Yeah.
Yeah, and nobody in a million years can tell me it's anywhere near worse than alcohol. So wherever they can sell alcohol, they ought to be able to sell kratom. And you mentioned addiction earlier. You're convinced everybody that takes it's going to get addicted. That's just not true. That's crazy.
I mean, it is addictive.
It is addictive, but that doesn't mean everybody that takes it's going to get addicted.
Definitely didn't say that.
That's what I thought you were saying.
Definitely don't think that. What I'm saying is it is by nature. And so I think a lot of critics.
It can be if you abuse it.
Yeah, a lot of critics would say you're trading one addiction for another. Like you're trying, and this addiction
If I trade fentanyl addiction for kratom addiction, that's a win.
Right.
If I trade 2/5 of liquor a day for 10 grams of kratom a day that I'm not getting high on, that's a win. So this is the least harmful addictive product in the marketplace right now.
And I think you just got at the core of your beliefs on this, which is that yes, it may be addictive, but it's a much safer and less fatal and less
100%
damaging addiction than the other one. So would you rather have an overdose or a death or someone living with something that's manageable and not as risky? I
100%.
think that's what I hear you saying.
Yeah. Oh, yes. That's no. Yeah. But understand if there's 20 million kratom consumers in America, there's not 20 million kratom addicts. Okay.
No, I don't assume that. I don't assume that. I definitely don't assume that. I do think a lot of the horror stories about withdrawals and addiction to it probably have to do with products that have synthetic or enhanced
100%
concentrated
correct. We got the data on the leaf. We don't have the data on the synthetic. So you're right. Most everything you're seeing in the media.
I think it's hard to distinguish for the average person, it seems like, which is, a lot of these stories involve anecdotally advice from someone behind the counter at a vape store. Someone comes in and they say, man, I'm trying to get off of whatever. And they say, well, we've had good results with this kratom here. And they hand them something and they don't, they're taking it on the advice of a person behind it. So I don't know that the organic leaf versus synthetic concentrated version distinction is always very clear.
But if that's all that person has, you're talking about a person, if there's no family member to go to, no doctor to go to, all you got is your vape supplier. If that's the only person you're going to open up to, that's almost like an engagement peer. You know what I mean? Hell yeah, I think that's a win in this society. But
even with the synthetics.
Well, I was just going to say, but I don't think it'd be good with the 708. Here, take a 708.
Yeah.
Although is she drinking that addictive coffee?
Many fentanyl addicts that are today, they're on 708, and they're
living better lives.
They've been calling me, going, John, I'm terrified. They're banning 708. It's the only thing that I've used. I said, look, man, I ain't got all the answers, but go see us a Suboxone doctor.
But correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't 708 partially in kratom as well? Isn't it? There's two.
Most natural leaf, organic, as we're calling it, will have trace amounts of 708.
Right.
So if you get trace amounts of 708 in the leaf, you'll get trace amounts that it's going to convert in your liver to metragedine. So yes, but there's it's such a trace amount. It doesn't.
But metragedine is by far the biggest amount, right?
That's the most abundant alkaloid in the kratom.
Right.
Is metragedine. Right.
So 708, as I understand it, at the federal level, is being classified as a Schedule 1.
They just opened up the public comment period to ban it.
They want to, right?
Yes. But let me tell you something. You take 4 708 pills, you can buy a 4-pack of 708 pills. Arthritis hit my thumb. That 4-pack is still locked up. That 4-pack of 708 is equal to 10 gallons of leaf. Think about that.
Oh, because it's so concentrated.
Yes. It's equal to 4-pack pills is equal to 250 of those natural kratom shots.
Yeah.
I mean,
you'd have to take a lot more to get that I don't want to say high, but to get the impact.
Oh, you'll get high right away on the 708, but the trace amount in the plant.
Yeah.
Compared to what they're extracting and synthesizing, it's anybody can obviously see the difference.
Yeah.
Like you take a hemp plant, this is hemp, you smoke it, it don't get you high, but you can smoke something, the Delta product, And the same people that delta-fied hemp are delta-fied kratom, making the 7-OH.
Yeah.
People, understand.
There's definitely two worlds of thought on this, though. I think when you go on forums like Reddit and you see, there's one chat where it is singing the praises of kratom and its ability to relieve pain and its ability to decrease anxiety and its ability to help people get off a drug.
You see the good, the bad, the ugly.
But
Reddit has the horror stories.
But then there's another room where people are detailing their horrible withdrawal experiences and their addiction stories to kratom. Like there's people that have gone to rehab for kratom addiction. So, I think I've seen 3 natural leaf kratom addicts in my history over at McShin for 20 years. Out of all the 11,000 addicts we've seen, I did see 3 leaf addicts. And all 3 of them successfully not only got off of kratom, but went on to do well, okay? So, but what you're seeing now, it's those concentrated products, the synthetic products. It's not the plain powdered leaf that nobody's done nothing to. 99% of those issues is with that. And now I'm saying you stick with the leaf and you eliminate 99% of any controversy or any problem. I'm not a fan of synthetic products, 7-OH products. I'm not a fan of heavy, strong, concentrated products either. I'm really not a fan of anything that ain't a leaf, But I do know they do have pure natural benefits. Products out there that are made from the leaf that are well tolerated and fairly safe. So there's got to be a wheelhouse for those. Mm-hmm. This is another good spot to take a break while you're all wound up. We'll let you.
We need 3-4 hours, man.
We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. If you're enjoying Untold, like and subscribe on YouTube. You can also rate and follow us on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. So on the break, I was asking you a personal question about whether or not you had ever yourself experienced using kratom, and your answer was yes. So tell us about that.
That's a great question. Okay, now, when most people use kratom, especially addicts, it's a compulsion. They go, what can get me high? Oh, I heard kratom is. Let's go to the vape store and get some. And they end up getting whatever. Well, I remember I've been watching this, studying it, reading about it, going to kratom conferences, learning about it since probably 14 or 13, maybe as early as 2012. So 10 years go by, 12 years go by. And when I left McShin, we had a zero drug tolerance use at McShin. So what is this, 26, 20, 24, like a couple years ago when I left there, 2.5 years ago, I knew Johns Hopkins was doing a clinical trial on kratom. There's been multiple human clinical trials, but a few years ago, Johns Hopkins was doing one, and they were testing to see how addictive it is if people get on it and try to get off of it. But they didn't have any recovering people participating in this. So I talked to my doctor. I talked to my NA sponsor, my home group. I didn't really tell my wife right, what I wanted to do, because I kind of know how she would have felt about it. But I did tell her about it eventually. But I always heard you could take a low serving and not get high on it, and you can get a medicinal benefit for it. And what I mean by low is basically you take 1 gram. So what I did, I consumed 1 gram 4 times a day for 9 months. And so what's the impact of 1 gram 4 times? And consequently,
how did you take it? Did you take it
pill
or powder?
Take a little powder.
In your water? Or
yeah,
did you
just throw it in my mouth and drink water.
Doesn't taste good, right? Tastes
and then there are some. There's some. I like the powder better than anything, but there are some.
Better than the pills?
Better than anything, but there are some. You can buy a natural kratom product, whether it be in a soda. You can buy a powder mix. You can buy you can get the gel caps. I'm not a cap guy. Or you can get they got these gummies. One gummy is equal to a couple grams of leaf product. So you can cut a gummy in half, take half a gummy. That's like a gram.
Yeah.
and actually, but for 9 months, I'm doing a gram 4 times a day. Mm-hmm. I know not to take a bunch because I don't want to risk getting high.
And what year was this?
This was had to have been over 2.5 years ago.
Okay.
So do the calendar
2024, 2023?
23. I think December 23 into 24. I did that for 9 months. The last 60 days of a 9-month consumption, I ended up cutting a gummy in half. Mm-hmm. So I was basically doing a gram. 2 gummies a day, 1/2, 4 times a day. Sometimes only 3 because I didn't really. It's not like I needed it or craved it or. Yeah. I'd miss taking it because I'm not even really thinking about it. But I tell you what it did. Just that small amount. I have tremendous conditions. I don't even know what to call these fuckers. Neuropathy. Excuse my language. I'm sorry about that. I was doing good, man.
There's the cuss word.
You're not the first.
Yeah, I got every joint aches. I'm doing a lot of what do they call it? I'm seeing several doctors now to see what's wrong with me. Out of 7 siblings, I'm the only one that doesn't have multiple joint replacements. You know, we got bad genes when it comes to joints, and we break down. Every male in my family spent the last 5 years of their life crippled. You know, so I don't, and I know the age group that's coming. You know, I got 10 good years left the way I see it physically. So, but I used to take a lot of ibuprofen.
Yeah.
Man, I didn't take any ibuprofen during that. Nothing. I'm telling you what, it knocked back all my aches and pains. Didn't fix them, didn't cure them, but it knocked them back to where I was good. I didn't need anything. And I just left McShannon. I wasn't feeling good about, it's scary when you leave a place you were the founder of for 20 years.
Yeah.
So I've got a little depression going on, not feeling good, a little anxiety. Well, that little bit of kratom I took, about 20 years ago, I quit smoking one time and I used Zyban. And that was after a traumatic divorce, which I was definitely having some mental problems over. But I know what the impact Wellbutrin had on me, Zyban had on me, and it made me feel regular again. So during this clinical trial, I felt regular. It helped me with my pain. It helped me with my mood and my depression and my anxiety. And it was, to me, I said, that little bit doing this much to me, this is good. What is wrong with this? And then after
any side effects? Anything negative?
No, maybe a little constipation, but that's about all I can think of. And that in mentally what people would think. You get a side effect. Yeah, the stigma, exactly.
Did you tell people or did you hide it? Yeah, because some people hide it.
My recovering friends, they flipped out. Like, what are you doing, John? You're in relapse. That ain't man, when I'm in relapse, I'll be dropping acid, drinking liquor, going to jail. This ain't relapse.
He said dropping acid.
And so the detox day comes. I got a detox. So I go to, it's all at John Hopkins. And they get up there. They take my blood pressure, right? This is kind of comical. I got hereditary high blood pressure. I've had high blood pressure in the Marine Corps when I was 20 years old, but I'm on. It's all treated. They said, "Well, damn, John, we don't want the liability for detoxing you in the hospital if you got high blood pressure." I said, "Why the hell didn't you tell me that 9 months ago when I started this trial?" I said, "Screw you guys," but I
screw you guys.
In my mind, I'm doing this for 9 months. I want to know if there's a detox, if there's a withdrawal. I'm curious. So I stopped. And I'm telling you, it was almost laughable, the detox, the withdrawal.
Yeah.
I bet I was restless for 2 nights.
They say restless leg syndrome is the most common.
Not restless leg syndrome. I was just restless. I couldn't fall asleep right away. And I don't know if that's because I'm not taking my gram 4 times a day or if it's in my head. But I sleep good both. 2 nights in a row, I still sleep. 3rd night, I'm sleeping like a baby. And then I had a wonderful bowel movement for like 3 days, which is a big deal for me. I think, man, this is great.
Dropping some longs
at my age. And
Kratom babies.
So and then that was it. Then just to make sure I'm not addicted, and I'm not, sneaking back. I think I went 3 or 4 months Didn't touch it, didn't really think about it. But then I worked all day in the yard one day, and I couldn't walk because I lock up after I do physical work. So I said, I'll take, I know it'll help it. So I took a gram of kratom. So I'll periodically consume it. When I'm in pain, I don't want to take gabapentin or Neurontin or any of that crap because I know those side effects are horrible. Every FDA drug I take now for blood pressure, and 2 of them I take for the, what do they call it, the consequences of taking the other ones.
Right.
What is the name for that? I forget.
Side effects.
Side effects.
Yeah.
I said, well, I don't want to take any more pills or meds. So, yeah, I could be considered an occasional consumer, small amount for pain, and it works and it helps me. And I want it there. Mm-hmm. And I want to travel, be an old man, go across this country, and if I'm not feeling it and I want to consume some kratom for my issues, I want it to be there for me. I've earned that,
So your experience was...
Oh, and as an addict, it's real important to say, it didn't trigger my addiction. I don't want to drink and do drugs. I'm a proud recovering person.
Yeah. So now would you say your use is as needed? Like, do you take it when you feel like you've had it?
100%, yeah. It's strictly, yeah.
Which is once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
So let me ask you this. What do you think the future looks like? What do you think the outlook is for kratom? Do you think that more regulation is coming? You referenced earlier, you're like, we're fighting this good fight. Like, we have to really, like, get the word out. That fight, how do you think it's going? Do you think it's going to go in the favor of kratom, or do you think that it'll become regulated more?
I think it's a bloodbath out there right now. I think you got one side running on rhetoric, and it's easy to get people to pile on rhetoric, and then you got a scientific side out there. I mean, and they're doing a great job. And if we could get the media, to stop with the "if it bleeds it reads," stop with the 2 minutes or the 400 word, stories. Tell the real truth on both sides. Take the time it takes, as many words as it takes, so people can at least have an informational, accurate opinion or however they want to go. Because right now, it's just there's too much dirt slinging around out there, and it's doing an injustice to information, to media. Like this 1 hour with you, they should all be like this. This is real.
Yeah, it is the benefit of a long format is you can really let it breathe. But let me ask you this: in your focus, your career, and sort of like your life mission has been, treating addiction and finding ways for people to, escape the agony of being addicted to something. Do you think kratom is sort of a miracle answer to that?
I think 100%. I think it's way better than most any pharmaceutical product in the market. My personal belief, I'd rather see a kid take kratom than anything else. If they can do 5-10 grams a day and stay away from all pharmaceuticals, to me, that's a win, because you can get off 5-10 grams easy. When the time comes, you got your head right, you're steady, you're solid, you can be off 10 grams pain-free in 30 days.
Yeah.
And that's a reality check. Now, if you're taking 50 grams or 100 grams, you're chasing something.
Right.
That's a whole different animal. My recovery. Now, I'm still fully engaged in my recovery. I still go to my 12-step home group every week. I still help kids every day.
Sure, I just mean you're not working at McShin.
I'm going to jail meeting tonight.
Not McShin anymore.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yes, but I mean, I know that is sort of the passionate cause of your focus here, and I feel like, I wonder if you feel like that's,
Well, this dovetailed right into it, because I've had a spiritual awakening as a result of the 12 steps, and I'm just not limited to strictly helping a new person getting off of drugs. This is another tool in the toolbox to help somebody get off drugs. And oddly enough, I do very little. Maybe once every 6 months, I might suggest somebody get kratom or try kratom. I'm really on the advocacy side, just trying to educate people.
Yeah.
It ain't the devil. It ain't the demon people think it is. It's a valuable tool that is worth having in the marketplace for are people that want it or need it.
Amen.
And it's the other stuff is the bad stuff. That's the troublemaker.
I do think sometimes it opens the door, and then people
powder to the people.
They want it on a higher level. They want it more concentrated, and then it's it becomes sort of like unravels a little.
That's you're chasing the dragon. That you're chasing something, and the people I'm advocating for, they ain't chasing nothing.
Yeah,
you'd be shocked at the amount of people that do their leaf product, 1, 2, 3 times a day in the same amount for 10 years, 5 years, and then that to me, and then
do you think eventually it will be, if the FDA, if NIH does this study, and if it does become that there are more published reports that confirm the benefits of use and the safety issues are resolved, can you see this becoming more than it is right now?
Oh hell yeah, it's going to be. They're gonna get a half a dozen pharmaceutical drugs out of kratom, if not a dozen. It's coming. And by the way, I brought you a clinical study, a user's guide that's been out there for 5 years for clinicians to look at or providers to look at. I brought you a half a dozen.
But most providers
studies.
Still don't, right?
Hell no. If it ain't FDA approved, they ain't touching it.
They're not going to say yes.
And if it interferes with their money machine, they ain't touching it. They're going to talk down on it, actually.
Right. Yeah, there's no money to be made for doctors on prescribing that.
No, you can't prescribe something that doesn't have a prescription number to it. It's a plant.
Right.
There's no money in recovery, but there's money in treatment. Mm-hmm. I learned that 25 years ago, trying to help kids.
And you see kratom as recovery.
In one big caveat, it's a fabulous recovery tool. It's a wonderful harm reduction tool. In a whole nother category, it's better than other optional products. People, they don't want to be an alcoholic. They don't want to drink. If they can socially lubricate with kratom, let that be their answer, but be mindful of the tolerance you spoke of earlier and the need for more. You got to be really cautious of that.
Cautious of upping the dose constantly, and the concentrations. Well, I have certainly learned so much from this conversation, John. Thanks so much for coming on our show, and wish you the best of luck with that thumb. Is it all right?
That's I work in the sun. I spent 4 hours putting a brick sidewalk in, cutting bricks, sweating and when I sweat a lot, I potassium shortage or whatever that.
Yeah.
When you sweat a lot, you drink a lot, you flush out whatever it is, then I get cramps.
Well, I hope it's all right.
I take a supplement, potassium.
I take a potassium supplement.
Well, I wish you the best of luck. And
thank you so much.
We will.
Good for me.
Yeah, it was good for everyone. Very educational, very informative. Thank you. And we will see you next time on Untold.
Hope so.
Untold is a production of WTVR CBS 6. Executive produced by Mike Bergazzi and Katie Beck.
Well, what's up, Kate? The next
good.
Mm-hmm.
But you could tell she's clearly got a little bit biased there. So.
Yeah. So her next interview is with Dishonest Dean. Oh. And we're going to show that tomorrow.
Yeah. Tomorrow.
Not sure on the time.
Dean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not sure on the time, so make sure y'all hit the notification bell so that you can know when we go live, because we don't have a set live unless it's Saturdays when we do the recap with Mac.
John is amazing.
I love John.
I know you've been enjoying your time with your wifey. I hope y'all are having a good time.
Yeah.
I don't know if y'all are back or not, but I know school started today. I was just about to say I got to go because school. I'm going to go meet my kiddo from the bus stop and see how his first day was. So I hope you're getting some sun and some relaxing in before you got to go back to school.
Which video, Tracy? Dishonest Deans?
Can't even see the freaking chat's all janked up.
It's janked up.
There we go. Goodness. Yeah, that should be interesting tomorrow.
Yeah.
Lord.
Have mercy.
All right, everybody, I'm going to go so I can go
get that. Go get your boy.
Go do life, because of Kratom.
All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow.
All right. Bye, everybody. Y'all have a good rest of y'all's day. I can find the end stream.